Hello folks, and welcome back to Sew for Sew, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jess. This is my channel all about sewing, dressmaking and all things stitch related. And Vlogmas has had to stop for this year. I think next year I might just try and do 12 days. I might really enjoy it, a bit more like 12 days of Christmas vibes. Let me know what you think. But we have some emergency sewing to do. So tomorrow I need to give my sister her Christmas present. I have not made her Christmas present. Her Christmas present doesn't exist. The pattern pieces are cut out, as in out of paper. The fabric is currently lying on the floor, so let's get to it. Let's see what we do. So I'm going to try and chat to you while I make it, because it's a My Handmade wardrobe wrap skirt. I've made it loads before, or I've made it a couple of times anyway, 2 or 3 times. So it shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, it's a very simple pattern. I just need to make sure I make it well. I'm using a gorgeous like black linen slub. It's really, really nice. She chose it. I am making a size, hold on, I'm making a size 6, they're numbered 1 to 8, size 6 is roughly UK 14, it's about there. And the only stuff I need is my lovely black linen, which I'll show you once I've cut it out, because there's at least a metre at the end I'm not using. So maybe something for me, you can say. So lovely black linen, I'll show you that at the end. We need some interfacing for the ties and the waistband, and then we need a nice button. I feel like it's a sewing me challenge, but 2.5 meters of fabric, pattern pieces down there, label, interfacing's down there. Let's see what we can get done. Hopefully the whole thing. So this fabric was actually a joy to cut out. It's lovely and stable. It's a linen slub, but it's still got a good amount of structure to it. Like it's a really nice quality linen. She chose it in May this year. It's from my local fabric shop, A&M Textiles. And it's been really, really nice to work with. It's lovely and structured, and it'll just wash and get softer and softer over the years. So hopefully she loves it. One of my favourite things about this present project actually is that I'm replacing something that she used to have in her wardrobe and she absolutely loved. And I think that's really, really special to get to do that and to be able to do that and help her in that way. So we're starting with just the waistbands in 2 pieces, and it needs to be one super long waistband, so we're just going to sew that together at the short end. But it's really special. Like, it means a lot to me to get to contribute to her wardrobe in this way and create something that she really wants to wear. It's really, really special. That's the waistband all done, so now I need to go press it, and then we're going to quickly assemble our ties. So as you can see here, they're just little tubes with a closed end, and then I'll join you in a second to turn these out for you. Hi folks, so I am just pressing my waistband in half at the moment. Got it interfaced. I'm not looking at the instructions because I think I remember how to make this, but obviously if that feeling changes then we will adjust accordingly. I think I'm going to do a 1 centimetre seam allowance on this when I sew it on, because I remember the 1.5 being a little small, and I think she'd prefer a slightly broader waistband, so I'm going to do that. But what we have to do is fold it in half. Then one side will be stitched on, the other side will press up like that. So, and then we'll stitch in the ditch along. So it's quite a nice construction, it's nice and simple. A while ago, My Handmade wardrobe gave me a discount code for this pattern, and lots of you really liked it. So if you want them to do that again, let me know and I'll ask. It's a really, really great pattern. It's nice and simple. All their patterns have really good instructions. They're nicely drafted. I should have said as well, and you'll see this a little later on in the video, but what I've done is normally this has a sort of tulip style petal opening, but my sister wanted it square across, so I've squared it off for this version, and I'd love to know what you guys think. Here we go, right, lovely. So I'm doing things a little out of order. I'm going to quickly make my ties now, which I'll do in time lapse because, oh my god, you guys don't need to see that. And then I will show you what I'm doing with the skirt, and we'll do the French seams together. Waistband onto skirt, some buttons, ties on, bam, done. That's the theory anyway, so stay tuned. Right folks, you join me for my least favourite task in the entirety of the sewing world, which is turning out these lovely ties. So turning out things is awful. Sorry if my camera's so far away from my comfort monitor that it's really throwing me off today, so bear with. You're down here. So I'm going to move you up a little bit actually. Perfect. Hopefully that's all right. So we're going to turn through. Now at the social, someone showed me their great loop turner that has 2 tubes. I do not have one of those. I would like to. I am just looking over here to see where my turner is, because I do have one. It's one of the very stupid ones. But right, I'm back. If you can hear any sound in the background, it is Adam making popcorn. We make it the traditional way in a pan. So we're going to try and turn this out. Now, the worst bit of turning out is getting it started. So I'm going to today start from the other end because it's a closed tie, not an open one. So I'm going to just gently squidge the fabric up around the end of this chopstick, and I hope this works. Yeah, thank you all so much. I tried Vlogmas this year. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to do it next year. I definitely need to look at my schedule though. I think I'm not somebody, as you guys know, I'm quite a busy person. And I definitely think I need to do a little bit more contingency planning next year for like the order I film stuff in, and whether I'm just very intentionally with you guys like a day in arrears, so that there's always a chance to like catch up. But I'm so, yeah, I don't know, I'm so busy. I kind of wanted to, oh, that's worked actually oddly well. This never happens. My God, I think it's because it's quite a big tie actually, so it's come through quite well. There we go. Let's see if I can do my corners while that chopstick's in there. Lovely, that's one. So, yes, I know I've really enjoyed Vlogmas, I really have. It's been good fun, it's been nice to connect with you guys daily. In some ways it's helped me connect a little bit to my sort of YouTube roots a bit more, because it was just a lot more informal. And I think, again, as I talk about quite a lot, sometimes I definitely let myself feel the pressure of like being a YouTuber and having to edit a certain way and appear a certain way, when actually I think the most important thing is coming on here and talking to you all. And the whole reason I do it is to connect with a broader sewing community, and that will be easier this year without the wedding. I promise the final wedding vlog is coming. I sat down to film the footage that has been lost, and I lost my voice, so it is coming your way. We're also waiting on our photographer sending us our photos, so they should be with us very soon. But I'd really like to be able to put some of those in as well, the final dress shot, because I don't really have any video of me in my dress, I think. But one of our photographers might have got some, so I kind of want to wait and put that in there. A bridesmaid's dress vlog as well, I think is mostly done. I think I just need to go through it. Okay, so we have ties. Instructions at this point. We are going to do side seams, and we're going to do them as French seams. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take these over to the ironing board and press them quickly off camera, because you don't need to see me press these. And then I'm going to time lapse. Am I? No, I'm going to film the French seams, but I'm going to voice over them so that you don't have the problem with the sewing machine sound. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll be back in a second. So we're doing French seams. Podcast listeners among you will know, unpopular opinion, but I actually love French seams. I think they're easier than most other seam finishes. Obviously there is the risk of doing it wrong, which is slightly higher than with other seam finishes because you're actually trimming and cutting. But with this, it's just making sure I know they're definitely both on the same side. It's a lot easier with fabrics with intentional right and wrong sides, like super easy. But on a fabric like this, it's really just making sure I do both seams to the right side. But no, I love French seams. I think they're super classic on a garment. They last really well. They're nice and strong because it's actually a double sewn seam. And I really like them, particularly in a garment like this where the insides will be visible, particularly to the person wearing it, but also like it's a wrap skirt, so there's a chance the seams will be visible. And I really, really like the fact that it's really neat, and it is a proper sewing technique. I do really enjoy it. Like, it's really, really fun. And I think I don't know, I just find them very satisfying. I'd love to know in the comments what your favourite seam finish is, because I do like an overlock. I do. It's very simple and very easy. But I do feel sometimes like the margin of error is potentially going to be higher than it is with a French seam. But that might just be me and the fabrics I sew with as well. Like, I sew with a lot of fabrics where French seams are kind of the ideal. Whereas I know a lot of other people sew with lots of jerseys and things where overlocking is the dream. So I'd love to know what you guys think. In terms of how I do my French seams, I have a sort of universal rule I follow. It doesn't matter what the instructions say of how to do French seams or whatever, I follow the rule I understand, which is 2/3 of my seam allowance trim, then 1/3 of my seam allowance. So for example, in this instance, We are doing a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, so I'm sewing the first seam at 1 centimetre, I'm trimming it right down to 0.5 centimetre, and then when we flip through, I'm sewing that at 0.5 centimetre on the other side, so it's enclosed. And that's the rule I use for everything, really. So if it's 1 centimetre, I will break it down slightly differently via the lines on my sewing machine, but I know what I'm doing, and it works well for me. And I definitely find it sort of, I don't know, it just helps to have that rule in my head. It kind of applies to everything. It's kind of like ratios for cooking or something. Sometimes I have things in ratios in my head, like 2 parts of this to 1 part of this, so that it doesn't matter what the measurement is, I can just figure it out. And that's kind of how I feel about this as well. This is the scariest bit though, is trimming off the seam allowance, because past here you can't go back. So I'm trimming this now, and then we're going to go and flip it through. The bit you haven't seen here is me going to the ironing board, because that's cooking dinner and stuff. So we are now I have pressed the living daylights out of it, and as you can see, there's some pins in there as well, just to make sure I really do this properly. Now, when I do it myself, I press it, but I rarely pin it. So that is a mark of how much I care if this goes well or not. Okay, sorry, I had to take a quick break to make dinner. But I know I need this up here, don't I? Right, iron out the way. The iron's off, which is why little feet aren't going. So yes, I'm getting there, actually. I'm getting there. Now, obviously, as you guys know, this is not a sew along. This is not what this video is for. This is me sewing and chatting to you guys while I do it. That's what we're doing. And I say that to be entirely clear, because every time I do a chatty sewing video, somebody goes, oh, it's a terrible sew along, and it's like, that's fine, because it's not meant to be one. So yeah, just for clarity, this is not a sew along. It doesn't have to be, it's not going to be, but I hope you enjoy it regardless. One thing I have just realised is I want to put the iron on, because I want to add some interfacing tape to the edges. Hang on, I'm back, there we go. So I'm gonna do some interfacing tape just so that the edges of the skirt are a little bit stronger. I love this stuff. It's not Wonder Web, it's literally just tape interfacing, so you can just iron it on edges, but it's really, really good if you want to like reinforce something, which is exactly what I want to do here. So I'm gonna put it sort of about 1/4 inch, if that, maybe 1/8 inch in from the edge, and then I'll fold over the bare edge onto the tape, and then I'll flip it again, and that will be our what's the word I'm looking for? My god, my brain today. Sorry, I'm not very well. Adam has a bug, and I am, oh, sugar. That just didn't work, did it? That was interesting. Sorry about that, small misfunction. Right, is this definitely the right way up? Is the iron okay? Yep, iron's fine. Very good. Right, take 2. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to crop this shot, but if you can see a tiny bit of my laptop, I am sorry. Now, are you just going to glue into place interfacing tape? Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. Right. So particularly because this isn't the sort of floaty tulip skirt or petal skirt opening for a wrap, I am just giving a little bit of extra stability to these edges. It'll give us a nice, strong, what's the word I'm looking for? A really lovely crease as well on the edge. And because it is square, you want it to have a little bit more structure. So that's what we're doing right now. And then we're going to pin the waistband on. I've got dinner on now, which is great. So that's going to be an hour or so. So that gives me time, I think, to finish this skirt off pretty much. And then possibly some sewing for myself this evening, which I won't film, because one of the things I want to try and do this year is make sure I'm balancing projects I'm filming versus projects that are just me having a nice time. Because I definitely think doing so many projects for an external gaze this year has impacted my enjoyment a bit. Like, don't get me wrong, I adored sewing my wedding dress, it's fabulous. But that sort of pressure of like everyone's gonna see it and everyone knows you're making it, and like it's a whole thing. So yeah, I definitely want to be a little bit more conscious of that. Right, okay, so now I'm going to press. So I've done this, it's on here. So we're going to press this edge in, and then we're going to fold it again on itself. Now I need to do this for the sides, I don't need to hem the bottom yet, because in order to enclose this in the waistband, I need to make sure that the distances are right from the edges. Right, tiny little pin tuck. This iron is so good. Like, it's outrageously good, this iron, I love it. It's probably one of the best things I own, barring obviously my sewing machine. But it's just so like powerful. And it's got a really nice weight to it, a really good like plate. Now obviously this was gifted years ago, but I'm not doing an ad, I'm just really happy with it. But particularly at this time of year, I do get lots of you asking me about sewing machines, irons, all this kind of stuff. So I would have bought this with my own money. It's probably the ultimate recommendation I can give you. Come on. It's also, can I say, such a pleasure to work with such a staple fabric. Like, it feels so nice. Because it just goes where I put it. And even the thing is, 2 years ago I would not have classed this flimsy linen slub as a staple fabric. But after a year of satin, this is genuinely a joy. So, I'm going to fold this back on itself again. Get the line right. Should sort of fold naturally because you've got the tape as well. The tape is brilliant, particularly for hemming. Again, you can use Wonder Web as well, so it sticks your hem together. But this is a nice way of interfacing without having to cut out stupid little wiggly bits to go along hems. So there we go. I'm going to give this a little press, but not as intense a press as it's going to get once the waistband is on. So what I'm now going to do I remember how to do this? I must remember, surely. Let's find out. Right, so we need to be on this side. I'm assuming we need a little bit of an edge, because you should always have a bit of an edge just to make sure you can sew it together neatly. Right, let's pin that on. Yeah, I hope this is nice. I hope I'm trying to be a little bit more like informal with what I do, as I mentioned earlier, because it's more fun. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and do let me know below if you do. I am going to be putting a little bit more effort into things like my thumbnail and stuff, because YouTube's algorithm has changed so much in the last 4 years. Like, it's got a lot cleverer, but also the way it works is it will like prioritize not only on how many people have seen your content, etc., but also literally on what your thumbnail looks like and your sort of SEO of titles and stuff. So the content from me will not change, but the way it appears on your feed will, just because I've had a lot of people telling me they literally can't see my videos. They're just not coming up for them, which is annoying when you spend a lot of time. What am I doing? Oh, I've done something incredibly silly. Very, very silly. Okay. Right. I very nearly did that incredibly wrong. So I have accidentally interfaced the right side of this skirt. Fantastic. How am I going to recover this? Or could it be a design choice? Because it's a really lovely flush folded hem. That could actually... Ooh, okay. Okay, maybe this might actually look quite cute. So it's really hard to see because it's black. But... Sorry, I've literally put a pattern piece down in front of the camera. Because I've basically interfaced the right side instead of the wrong side. But if I do that and then fold it over it, because it's so neat, it could actually look like a really cool design choice if I top stitch it. Okay, no, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. Let's just double down and do this. That's going to look really cute. But now that means I might have to stitch it before I do the waistband, because it needs to be perfect. And we'll do one side and then I'll do the hem underneath. Oh, thank God I didn't start taping the hem. And then you can just miraculously, in a fabric like this, turn it inside out and it works, because it's, you know, this side, this fabric doesn't have a wrong side, like both sides are the same. Oh my God, the stress. Oh, that's hot. The other thing I will say, working with linen, I forgot how hot linen gets to work with. There we go. And see what it looks like. I mean, not that I have much of a choice, but it could be the inside one. Okay. Stay tuned. I'm going to do this off camera because I don't need the pressure, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we get on. So I chose to double down. It looked really nice, so I'm doing both sides in the same way. And actually it looks like quite a nice design feature on what otherwise would be a very plain black skirt. So I'm going with it, I'm doing it. And what you are now seeing is me attaching the waistband to the skirt. So I've done both sides, and now we're stitching the waistband along. It's a really simple waistband construction. This is really, really nice. And it leaves a really lovely finish. What you have to do is just stretch it very slightly to make sure it goes the full length and hits evenly. Luckily, I had quite a strong centre fold in the middle piece that I hadn't fully pressed out, so I used that to mark my centre of my waistband hem. Not waistband hem, what am I talking about? Centre of my waistband pieces, there we go. So now I am, as you can see, attaching I flipped over the waistband, and I'm attaching the tie. So one of them you enclose in, and then you need to stitch the ditch along to basically half the width of the waistband and seal the whole thing in. So I'm going to try and do this clip at speed, because otherwise it's just very long, careful sewing, which isn't stunning to look at. But I am really, really happy with how this came out. It's really good. You'll get a proper camera view of the skirt in a minute, so you can see, and I've done a little close-up so you can see the actual folds and everything, because black is so hard to show from a distance on the camera, so I've done a little bit of a close-up bit. Right, folks, so here's an update. We have a lovely waistband, which is pretty good, I think. Nicely stitched on. Things that we need to do now. So as you can see, my little, it's easier to see on this camera, I did the hem the wrong way as a design choice, and I actually think it looks really pretty. So now what we need to do is the full hem. Also, can I say I eyeballed straightening off the bottom of this pattern, and I did it properly, so I'm really happy with that. So we need to put some buttons on here. So a buttonhole this section, and then I'm actually going to put 3 buttons here. I want her to have this for a long time, and as we all know as women, sometimes you bloat, sometimes you want to tuck a jumper in, sometimes you don't, I want her to have options. So I'm going to do 3 buttons, so she has options of where to button it in. I need to then stitch this on, so you do 1 line of stitching here, and then you fold it back on itself and do like a sort of box stitch to really secure it in place. So box stitch, buttons, and a hem, and then we're done. And I'm going to take you over here. Sorry, I'm just getting a view of our floor. These are the buttons I'm using. Luckily I had 3 left, so they're actually really cute. See if I can show you them there. They're like not fully black, they've got like little bits of white in them. They're really, really pretty, so I'm going to use those for her. So we're nearly there. Thank you so much for joining me for this as well. It's been really fun. So I thought I was filming while I did the hem and the buttonhole, and I wasn't. So I did the hem the way one normally does, tiny turn, then a big turn. So it's all done. I'm now putting on the buttons, I'm adding some fray check, and then I think that will be us with a fully completed skirt. So we are all done. I'm actually so proud of this. So I will record some voiceover. So by the time you guys see this, I will have talked through the whole video. But I'm going to record some voiceover over the bits where I had to actually concentrate on what I was doing. But things I'm particularly proud of, I really like the 3 extender buttons. I think that's really cool. So I've done it so that the middle one is the standard. And then there's a little tighter and a little looser. So if she wants to wear a jumper tucked in, she can go a little looser. And it's just options, because, our bodies change and develop. And when you make something for someone, you want them to have as much use for it as possible. I also really like the ties, nice and neatly on. Obviously this isn't a squared off hem pattern, so I squared that off really nicely, I think. And I'm actually really happy with this, which was originally a mistake. But if I pull the light over a bit, hopefully I'm looking at my comfort monitor to see if you can see it. Yeah. So you see this line down the front? That's where I fused the hem the wrong way. And actually, I think it looks like a really nice design feature, so I'm really happy with that. This one's very slightly wobbly, so it's the inside fold, and then the outside fold is perfect. And then I've hemmed it, so it's quite long, but I think she'll like that. She wants this as an all year round thing, so it's in a nice linen. She can wear tights under it, or she can wear it with sandals in the summer. And she wanted black so that she could wear it with her whole wardrobe. She used to have a skirt like this ages ago, and it wore through or something happened, and she's never found something she's liked since. So she chose the fabric, she's seen the pattern. I just really, really hope she likes it. So I'm just gonna put that through that button there, just check the buttonhole works. There we go. I've also rip stopped, so I've used this stuff, which is from Prim. It's called Fray Check actually, but I think it is rip stop, which you can use on buttonholes. So you do the buttonhole, you put this on it, you wait for it to dry, and then you cut the buttonhole open. And you can also put it on the backs of button stitching as well, which I do a lot, so to make sure that particularly if they're like accessible, that they're not going to pull, particularly in the wash, they're not going to go anywhere. So I love this stuff. I've had this bottle for about 3 years, it lasts forever, and it's really, really easy to use, so I definitely recommend that. I've not been asked to recommend that, I just do, it's really good. But I'm really proud of this. I think I talk about this a lot on our recent bonus podcast episode, but my sewing has changed drastically in the last year. It's not that I've learnt loads of new things. It's not that at all. I'm trying to nicely fold this while I talk. It's more that everything I knew before has had to be utilised in an entirely different context, or with more difficult fabrics, or it's been twinned with other, or it's been paired with other methods of sewing, or whatever it is. Like, I've developed a lot, and I don't know, I feel like my sewing has grown so much just from like understanding process and shape and fit, and yeah, I feel quite emotional that I've been able to make this skirt, which I think is pretty perfect. Like, I am delighted with this. There are no mistakes on this, there's no bits I don't like, there's no bits I'm worried about. She's gonna love it, and it's really, really special to be able to make something like that for someone. But also, it feels really special after a really, really busy year of sewing to be able to make something quickly. Bless you. To be able to make something quickly and for it to come out like this. So I'm going to get this wrapped up, but I hope you've enjoyed this little sort of chatty, I'm not going to say sew along because it's not, but chat along while I'm sewing, I guess. Please, if you don't already, please give this video a like and subscribe if you want to hear more from me. It really does mean the world. It does so much for my channel if you do subscribe, so please do, and share with any sewing pals if anyone's looking for new YouTubers for 2025. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you after Christmas for my 2025 Make 9, so stay tuned.